Welcome back to the Delaware Way. We're joined by House Majority Leader Valerie Longhurst. Teen suicide is a problem across the country, and there's been clusters of suicides. And I know you had a problem with the cluster of suicides down south in Kent and Sussex counties. And you've been on the forefront of trying to do something, of trying to prevent suicides in the state. What exactly can be done?
My first meeting with understanding what teen suicide was about is I was sitting in a luncheon banquet, and a father got up and talked about his son and how great he was doing in school, and then all of a sudden one day he came home and he had committed suicide. And that tugged at my heart because I have 2 children. And for anybody just to lose a child is just far beyond anything you can think of. Our children spend the majority of their day with teachers and with the administrators in school districts. And those teachers need to be educated on the warning signs of teen suicide, because it is a community thing. Not only we as parents have to pay attention to our children, but the schools have to help pay attention to those children. So I introduced and passed HB 90, which was a teen suicide prevention requiring all teachers and administrators and everybody in the school to take 90 minutes of training of identifying the signs of teen suicide. And I took it a little bit step further, and on top of the 90 minutes of training, they had to form committees within their school, which was a response committee on what do you do after that. It's one thing to determine, what is the signals for teen suicide, but then what do we do after that? You can't just leave them hanging. So that was the second piece of it, and the last one was to put policies into place for anonymous tips. Because you do need a safe haven for that type of thing. Oh yeah, because they tell friends, and friends know they're depressed, and the parents may not know. No, it's a great idea, and you're going to feel great when you saved your first life, and I'm sure that's going to happen. It's going to happen. It would be nice if, and it's congratulations on that. It's an important issue. It would be great if we could expand that to, with veterans and with first responders, because the suicide rate in those 2 classes of people is also extremely Well, and absolutely. High. I was actually at a 5K run for Del Tech. They did this march for veterans with suicide and raising the awareness. So Del Tech has done their share, and I went down and gave them a tribute. And I didn't run it that day because I had other events I had to attend, but I did bring a tribute because they are tackling on that with our veterans. And I give them a lot of credit because they raised a lot of money for it, and they are raising that bar and that awareness. So suicide is not just with our children, but it's also mental health and taking care of our veterans when they come back after supporting us.
And you not only had this issue that you took up, you had another issue that you took up because someone came to you and said, there's not enough help for my son or daughter.
Yeah. So when I first got into office, my first constituent phone call was from a mom who had a daughter who has Down syndrome. And she called me and she said, Val, I don't know what to do. I can't get her services. And I'm like, well, I don't understand how that could possibly be. And she said, because there's a shortage of speech and language pathologists. I'm like, how does that happen? And being a new representative, I didn't know what I could do to help her. I had no idea what I could do to help her. But I started doing ad hoc groups with Easter Seals and a lot of other organizations to say, what's going on here? Why does Delaware have a shortage? Why isn't this beautiful girl able to get her speech and language? Because your verbal communications are so important, and it really defines your self-confidence. Sure. Then I decided to do an executive order with Governor Ruth Ann Minter, and on that task force I had U of D people there, I had Easter Seals there, and we worked together to figure out what is a good solution in the state of Delaware so that our kids are getting the services that they need. And what we found out is that you do have to have a master's degree when you become a speech and language pathologist, but University of Delaware did not have a master's program. So you can get an undergraduate degree. Our people would leave, go to New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and get their degree.
And then they get their internships there, and they get their jobs there. Yeah,
and they never come back. So, I was like, we have to have a master's degree here. There's no other alternative to do it, which it's a tough process to put a master's degree program in the University of Delaware. But we are so fortunate because just last week we cut the ribbon for the master's degree program, and it will be starting 2016, and there will be 25 students going into that class. So I'm excited.
Thank you for coming in.
All right, thank you.
I really appreciate it. Representative Valerie Longhurst, the House Majority Leader, you've got a tough year ahead of you. Good luck with the budget fight.
Thank you.
Coming up next, Dr. Donald Morton, the Executive Director of Complexities of Color, talking about inequities in the criminal justice system when it comes to race. That's when the Delaware Way continues.